students, welcome to this video session. My name is Samuel Chukwuemeka. In this video session, we shall discuss complex numbers part 2. Here we shall add and subtract complex numbers. Adding and subtracting complex numbers is the same as adding and subtracting your variables, your ordinary variables. Before you view this video, I would recommend that you view the video I did on add, subtract, multiply, and divide integers. I would also recommend that you view the video on add and subtract variables, and then that you view the complex numbers part 1 prior to viewing this video. It is important. Now, there are two ways we can add or subtract complex numbers. We can either use the vertical method. The vertical method is the one I prefer using, whereby you list it vertically and you add their pure imaginary numbers, and then you also add the real part. Okay? You can also expand it. You can also expand the complex number and then get the like terms together, get the real parts together, and get the pure imaginary numbers together. Okay, so the basic thing here is that to add two or more complex numbers, what you want to do is you want to add their real parts together, okay, then add their pure imaginary numbers together. Add their pure imaginary numbers together. So the same thing goes with subtraction. When we want to subtract two or more complex numbers, we subtract their real parts, okay, and then we subtract their pure imaginary numbers. All right, the pure imaginary numbers has the imaginary part. Okay, let's go ahead and do the exact. There are questions to the right. 7 questions. Let's go ahead and solve them. By the time we finish solving them, at least you should have known how to do that. Now, I will do number 1, and as usual, I would recommend that you pause it before I do number 2. After doing number 1, if you understand it, you pause the video. Prior to my doing number 2, you pause it. Try to do it on your own and see whether you will get the same answer that I get. Okay? Now, so the same thing applies to subtraction. To subtract two or more complex numbers, subtract their real parts, and then subtract their pure imaginary numbers. Okay. Question 1. Question 1 says 2 plus 6i plus negative 8 plus 4i. Okay? Now, if I want to do it vertical method, that's the method I prefer, vertical method, I will just list them vertically. So I'll do 2 plus 6i, then I do plus by the side here, then negative 8 plus 4i. Okay, I will just do it this way. I mean, it's easier for me. Okay, now when you do it like this, this is not the case whereby you add, and if it's more than a certain number, you carry over. No, we don't do it that way. Here, like I said earlier, you add here you can start. It's good to start with adding the pure imaginary numbers, adding it together, okay? And once you get it, then you add their real parts. All right, so we do now, this means 6i plus plus 4i. That is what it means, 6i plus 4i. So this plus of course gives us plus 6i plus 4i, and that is 10i. Okay? Now 10i is the same thing as saying plus 10i. That is the same thing as saying plus 10i. So you come down here and you put plus 10i. Okay? And then you do 2 plus minus 8. 2 plus minus 8. Plus minus will give you a minus. Remember, when you have two signs, if you have two signs, make it one sign. I have taught that in previous videos. If you have two signs, make it one sign. If you have two signs close together, two signs that are close together like this, make it one sign. Okay? So plus minus is minus. 2 minus 8 will give you negative 6, minus 6. So this is minus 6 plus 10i, and that becomes your answer. It is as simple as that. Okay, if you do not like this way, okay, we can do it another way, we can do it another method, and the method will be like this. We can kind of expand it first, kind of distributing, you know, this is like 1. 1 is here. Although there is no number here, but you can say that 1 is there. You can kind of remove the parentheses, expand the expression. So you have 2 plus 6i plus negative 8 plus 4i. And as usual, if you have two signs close together, make it one sign. So this is 2 plus 6i plus minus is minus 8 plus 4i. Okay? So here, this will now be, you get the real parts together, 2 minus 8, and get the pure imaginary numbers together, plus 6i plus 4i. Okay? And this will now give you negative 6 plus 10i. Yeah. If you want it this way, that's fine. But just be careful, you know, when you have negatives, like, well, we'll do that with question 2. Yeah. So here we are lucky because this is positive. So positive times negative will still give you negative, and positive times positive will still give you positive. And this is like saying that 1 is here. If you want to put 1, that's fine. So that you do not get confused. You can do that. Okay? Yeah. But I don't use this method. I like the vertical method. Okay. So let's do question 2. Question 2, I will do it to the two methods. Okay? And then for the rest of the questions, I will do the vertical method. So question 2 says negative 2 minus 4i minus negative 1 minus I. So if I use the vertical method here, I will have negative 2 minus 4i. Then this minus will be here, minus. Then this will be negative 1 minus I. So let me start with the pure imaginary numbers. Okay? So if you come here, this means negative 4i minus I minus I minus 4i minus I minus 4i minus I. So when you have two signs together, make it one sign. This is minus 4i plus I. You owe 4, you have 1. This is minus 3i. So you come over here and you write minus 3i. Okay? So you're done with the pure imaginary numbers. Now you now go to the real parts. Minus 2 minus 1. So this will be what? Minus 2 plus 1. And that is minus 1. You owe 2, you have 1. That means you still owe 1. So the answer will be minus 1 minus 3i. And that will be the answer. Okay. You don't want to do it this way, you can expand it. So it's like we have Vertical method and expanded method. You can call it expanded method. Okay, so this will be, if you expand it, this will be negative 2 minus 4i, then this is like minus 1. You don't see the 1 there, but there is 1. If you want to put it, that is fine. If not, you can remove it. But if you don't want to get confused, you can go ahead and put it. Okay, minus 1 times minus 1, this is like using distributive property. You want to now open up the parentheses and expand. So minus 1 times minus 1 is plus 1, and then minus 1 times minus I is plus I. So you now bring, when you do this, you bring the real parts together and the pure imaginary numbers together. So this will be minus 2 plus 1 minus 4i plus I. And this will be minus 1 minus 3i. The same thing. So whichever one you choose, you do. Okay. For the rest of the questions, I would like to do the vertical method. Number 3, we have 4 minus I plus 2 plus 5i. So here we have 4 minus I, then plus, then 2 plus 5i. So here we do minus I plus 5i. Minus I plus 5i. Plus 5i. This means minus I plus 5i, and that is plus 4i. It means 4i, which is plus 4i. Okay? Plus 4i. Then you now do 4 plus 2, and that gives you 6. That's it. 6 plus 4i. Okay? Question 4. We have a negative 3 plus 5i minus negative 4 plus 5i. So this is negative 3 plus 5i minus, this minus is this minus, minus 4 plus 5i. So you now have 5i minus plus 5i. 5i minus plus 5i means 5i minus 5i, and that is 0. So this is 0. You can say 0i. Now, if they want you to leave it in standard form, then you put 0i. Okay? Then, remember the standard form is a plus bi. Remember that. We discussed that in the part 1. So, then here will be negative 3 minus 4. Negative 3 plus 4, and that is 1. So this is 1 plus 0i. If they want you to leave it in standard form, it will be 1 plus 0i. If they do not want you to leave it in standard form, the answer is 1. Okay? The answer is just 1. Alright. Number 5. Okay, number 5, we have three complex numbers. Negative I minus 2 minus 5 minus 4i minus 4 minus 2i. Okay, I mean, don't be scared about this. You can do it 2 at a time. You can do it the 3 at a go, or you can do it 2 at a time. Which one would I prefer that you do 2 at a time so that you don't make mistakes? Okay? So do these 2 first, and when you've done it, then do this one. That is the way I would recommend that you do it. You see that here, the I came first. So we can kind of rewrite it so that the I will come second. So this is negative 2, negative I. That's the same thing. Okay? Then minus 5 minus 4i minus 4 minus 2i. So Sometimes you might need to rewrite it. If it is not in order, you might need to rewrite it. Okay, now, some people are very sharp mentally. You know, they can just look at it immediately and say what the answer is. Right? But I prefer that you do it 2 at a time so you don't make mistakes. Now, some people will just come and say minus I minus 4I, which is minus I plus 4I, which is 3I. Then 3I minus 2I, which is 3I plus 2I, and that will give you 5I plus 5I. And then this will be minus 2 minus 5, that is minus 7. Minus 7 minus 4 is minus 11. And this is the answer, okay? But I would recommend you do, this is just doing it immediately, but I would recommend you do it step by step, 2 at a time. So this will be minus 2 minus I minus 5 minus 4I. So this is minus I minus 4I, which is minus I plus 4I, which is 3I. Okay? Then minus 2 minus 5 is minus 7. So this is minus 7 plus 3I. Okay? Minus 7 plus 3I. Then minus again 4 minus 2I. Right? And this will be 3I minus 2I is 3I plus 2I, which is plus 5I plus 5I. Then this is minus 7 minus 4 minus 11. Okay. The next one, number 6. Three minus I minus 4I plus minus 3 plus 2I. Okay? Some people are smart enough to kind of do it mentally. We can do it mentally fast. Okay? This is minus 1. So this will be plus I. I'm trying to do the pure imaginary numbers first. It is recommended you do that. Okay? Do the pure imaginary numbers first. So minus 1 times minus I is I. I minus 4I is minus 3I. Minus 3I plus 2I. Minus 3I plus 2I will give you minus I. Okay, then 3 minus 3 is 0. 0 plus minus 3 is minus 3. Minus 3 minus I. So let's do it, step by step. This means if you want to write this well, okay, if you kind of want to be on the safe side, you can write this 3 as 3 plus 0I, then minus 3 minus I. Okay? Now 0I minus I is 0 plus 1, which is I. Then this is 3 minus 3 is 0. So this is 0 plus I. Then minus, now this 4I, you can write 4I here, and you can write 0 plus 4I here. You can do that, because 4I is here, you can put 0 plus 4I, and this will give you what now? I minus plus 4I is what? Minus 3I, and then 0 minus 0 is 0. So you have 0 minus 3I. Okay, then the next one is now you do plus minus 3 plus 2I. Okay, then you do minus 3I plus 2I. It's minus 3 plus 2I, which is minus I. Then 0 plus minus 3 is minus 3. Minus 3 minus I. If you are confused about this, let's use the other method. Okay, let's use the expanded method. Now this will be 3. If we use the expanded method, this will be 3 minus 3 plus I minus 4I plus minus 3 plus 2I. Okay, then these two signs close together make it one sign. 3 minus 3 plus I minus 4I minus 3 plus 2I. So get all the real parts together, get all the pure imaginary numbers together. So this is 3 minus 3 minus 3 plus I minus 4I plus 2I. Okay, 3 minus 3 is 0, 0 minus 3 is minus 3. Then I minus 4I is minus 3I, minus 3I plus 2I is minus I. It's still going to give you the same thing. Okay, use that method. Alright, last but not the least, number 7. We have fraction here, negative 7 over 9 plus 3I over 5 minus 4 over 3 minus 1I over 6. Now, please, let me say this. Some people write fraction like this. And there is not a problem writing it like this, but there is also a problem. Because when you want to write something like 3I over 5 now, some folks might write it this way. 3I over 5, this is good. You can write it this way. You can also write it this way, 3 over 5, then you write I by the middle, which is good. But if you write it this way, 3 over 5I, then this is wrong. This is wrong. The I belongs to the numerator. Please, some students are scared of writing the I as the numerator. Don't be scared, that is where it belongs, okay? Textbooks might write it just in line with the fraction bar. But that is the way they wrote it anyway. I mean, it still doesn't matter. It belongs to the numerator because this is like I over 1. 3 over 5 times I over 1, which is 3I over 5, okay? Now, don't write it like this. And some folks that write fraction like this, they might now come and write it like this, 3 over 5, and then they write I. You see, this is wrong. So, if you write fraction like this, try not to. Try and write your fraction well, rather than writing it like this, okay? I know this is a math lesson, not a writing lesson, but I'm just saying that, you know, so you don't make mistakes. Now, we can do this by vertical method, negative 7 over 9 plus 3I over 5 minus 4 over 3 minus 1I over 6, or just I over 6. It still doesn't matter. Now, let's do the pure imaginary numbers first. So you see here, if we look at 3I over 5 minus I over 6, you can call it, you can say 1I, it still doesn't matter. So this is 3I over 5 plus I over 6. Now these are not the same denominator. So what is the least common denominator? 30. Okay, so what will you do to 5 to give you 30? You multiply by 6. Whatever you do to the denominator, you do to the numerator. So what is the equivalent fraction of this with 30 as the denominator? That will be 18I. Okay, plus, you do the same thing here. 6 times 5 is 30, so I times 5 will be 5I. Okay, so 18I plus 5I, they now have the same denominator. That will give you what? 23I over 30. Okay? 23I over 30. Plus. So this is plus 23I over 30. Now, the next one you do is to do the real parts. You now do the real parts. And which you have negative 7 over 9 minus 4 over 3. Here the LCD is 3. I'm sorry, the LCD is 9. Not my name. Negative 7 over 9 minus, you do 3 times 3 to give you 9. And the equivalent fraction will be 4 times 3 to give you 12. So this is negative 7 minus 12 over 9, which is negative what? 19 over 9. So you have negative 19 over 9 plus 23i over 30. And that is it. Okay? Alright. Thank you so much, students, for listening.